Hey, everybody, it's Greg Kenner with the WorkHappy podcast, where we bring conversations with experts and thought leaders in the world of business and personal development to help you find more joy and fulfillment in your work. As always, like I said, I'm Greg, and today I'm excited to introduce you to Corliss Rassyle, who is a seasoned executive coach and leadership development consultant who has helped numerous individuals and organizations achieve greater success and happiness in their professional lives. She's an inspirational keynote speaker, a personal growth coach, a podcaster. She has Conversations with Corliss, which is an amazing podcast. You need to check that one out as well. She's author of Lead Your Life, How to Live with Purpose, Passion, and Confidence. And she is the founder of Lead 2023 Conference. There's going to be speakers like Arlene Dickinson, Jack Canfield, Allan, Kehler, Corliss herself, and I just found out Murray Howe, son of Gordie Howe, is going to be there. So without further ado, it brings me great joy to introduce you to Corliss. Corliss, thank you for being on the show today. How are you?
I'm so great. Thank you for having me. What a wonderful opportunity you're giving me to share. So thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. I'm excited to have you on. We met through Allan Kehler on LinkedIn, and I think one of the benefits of COVID, at least for me, is that I switched careers like a lot of people have, but the amount of good people that I've met who want to make the world a better place. And just from our email conversations, I'm like, I need to talk to Corliss and bring her on. So I'm really excited. But why don't you just start quickly by giving our listeners a background where you started? I know I've done the research, but I would love to hear it in your words where you started and what you're doing now today.
Sure. It's a long story because I am in my 50s. However, I'll give you the short version. The short version is that I was born and raised in really humble surroundings. I grew up on the farm. I'm one of 8 children. And I am so grateful still to this day that I grew up in that environment because it really taught me the core values that really guide my life today. However, I evolved and into my early teens or late teens and early 20s. I chose to join a direct sales company, which really was it made a profound difference in my life. Mostly because I didn't know I was going to start a business. Really, I thought I was starting a side hustle. And that side hustle turned into an opportunity for me to light not only my life, but the lives of other people. 20 years into that career, I decided that I really wanted to make a difference in a bigger way. And I didn't want it to always be connected to my direct sales organization. So I founded my company, Corliss Co., and the rest is basically history. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah. How long ago did you start the Corliss Co.?
Corliss Co. started about 5 years ago. So we started in 2017. But to be really honest with you, I didn't know that I was actually starting a company at that point either. I just wanted to do something to make a difference. So I started with doing a few workshops, then I started coaching a little bit, started mentoring people. That turned into conferences and a book. And it just keeps expanding from there. The more ways we can serve, the better.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I really found that as well, too. I've had really great jobs. I was in sales myself. I guess I still am selling WorkHappy, but there's just such a difference. I'm not chasing money anymore. I'm chasing happiness. I'm chasing service. And it just, when I can go out and help other people, the rest of it takes care of itself. And I'm not worried, right? Obviously, I have a mortgage and I got to pay for gas, which is very expensive in Canada as well, too. But it's invigorating to do what we got to do and serve people. What do you love most about what you're doing?
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I actually want to say something to that because if you're working from home, then at least the commute is short and you don't need that much gas. However, you said something that really resonates with me because there's a value system that guides myself, my work, my business. And that is that if you create enough value for other people, all the money in the world is available to you. You just have to make as much value as you possibly can. So no wonder we aligned and we connected so quickly because we clearly feel the same way about that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And what do you like most about what you're doing? Is it the speaking? Is it the coaching? Is it the conversation in the hallways? What really gets you fired up?
It's funny that you asked that because I remember at one point I was sitting with Jack Canfield and I said to him, what am I anyway? Am I a coach? Am I a speaker? Am I an author? What am I? And he said, you're all those things. But really, underneath it all, those are the ways that I do things. But underneath it all, I just try to help people live and lead their best lives. And how I do it is all those different methods. So which one do I like the most? I actually don't think that I could choose, because what I love the most is seeing the impact that I'm having for people, the light bulb moments, and that happens on all different kinds of stages and in all kinds of different places.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. A couple things that stand out. I was doing a keynote for an organization up in Winnipeg back in May. And I was opening keynote, and afterwards, I talk about mental health and WorkHappy as well. And I shared a story about how my stepdaughter lost her dad to suicide 5 years ago. And it gets emotional and tears are shed on stage. And then afterwards, I walked off, and I don't know about you, but when I walk off stage, I need about 5 minutes, just nothing, just myself, a lot of water, and just deep breathing. And so I did that. And then I walked into the trade show floor and was just walking around the booth. And this guy came up to me. His name was Jason, and he said, "Hey man, great talk. I really appreciate that you talked about mental health." And I said, "Thank you, appreciate that." I said, "What was your biggest takeaway?" And he said, "Probably my biggest takeaway is the fact that I've had crippling anxiety for 25 years. None of my buddies know about it. None of my friends know about it. Only my doctor, my wife, and now you." And I was like, holy cow. Just because what you and I do on a daily basis is we share and we're vulnerable with people. And we're still buddies. We text each other every 3 or 4 weeks. How are you doing? What's going on? And he's taking care of his anxiety. It's under control and everything. But I thought that was just so profound that one guy getting up on a stage in a group of 500 people I'd never met. And here we are having a personal conversation and helping each other. And when I struggle, I got people that I reach out to too. Just because I talk about WorkHappy doesn't mean that every day is happy. But I try to think it that way.
Yeah, and it's always highs and lows, right? And we have to work through those things. I always say that I think we just learn to bounce back just a little bit faster. That's all. We just arm ourselves with tools, and we know that we've been through things, and we know we can bounce back just a little bit faster, and we use those tools to do that.
Yeah. What, other than work, what makes you happy?
My family time. Although I have to say, as I get older, I'm really noticing that I really enjoy my alone time. So I like the simplicity of just time with myself, time to go within, time to read. I love to enjoy time with my little puppy, which is a whole nother story, because I didn't even really care for animals before I got him. And I really like the time to myself. So outside of that, I love meaningful conversation. I love connecting with people on the soul level. It makes me really happy to do that. I love getting outside in nature, taking walks, and doing the things that are good for my soul. That makes me really happy.
Yeah, no, I've learned later in life that when your heart and your mind are connected, it's so much easier. And I talk a lot about mental health, what we've gone through in our family, not me personally, but seeing what the effect it's had on my stepdaughter and my wife. And I just had another conversation with someone else yesterday where we're all going through this, right? You look on social media, and that's what I loved about when I connected with you, your social media. You're not stepping out of a Learjet or not sitting in a Ferrari saying, "Hey, look at all the money I've made." You're always, how can I bring more impact? How can I help other people? And even just this morning, you had shared someone had listened to your podcast and it meant a lot to them, and they're going back and learning from it. And it's those kinds of things. Have you had, what was the worst job you've had? Obviously, what you do now, Corliss Co, is the best job you had. Being your own boss. Yeah, sometimes we're hard on ourselves, but was there a job? Wow, I can't believe I did that for that long.
Isn't that funny that you asked that? Because I've actually only ever had 2 real career.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I was young when I fell into my career. I didn't know it was a career when I fell into it, but it just became a lifelong journey for me as an entrepreneur. And then I went right from that to this, always doing the same work. So when you said I'm not really in sales, or I am, if you're in business, you're in sales. That's just the way it is, because you're selling something. Even if I'm on a stage doing a keynote, I'm selling to people the ideas and the concepts and the tools that I teach to help them better their lives. Like you're always influencing in some way, shape, or form. And that's really what leadership for me is all about, is that we're all influencers, because leadership is about influencing. And I really want people to own that power and recognize that, like, everything you say, everything you do impacts something. And you have to make some real conscious choices about not only who do I want to be, like as a human being, but who do I want to be for others as well, and step into that. So that's my personal philosophy philosophy around it. And that's something that I carry with me in all of my talks, all of my work, all of my coaching, in my book, and everywhere, and helping people not only own that power, but make decisions about who they want to be. So as far as my least favorite job, I can say jobs around the house. There's things I don't like doing. Certainly there's things that I can't say I really enjoy around keeping my home or keeping it clean to the standards that I'd like to have it at. But overall, the work that I've done has always been very fulfilling. At the time that it became less than fulfilling, I made a different choice. And that's when I actually started my company. And I just felt like I was made for more. It's interesting because I think as women, I don't know about you, Greg, but I think as women, a lot of times what happens is we have a good life and we think, I should be happy with this. I should be satisfied with what I've got. I'm so much better off than most people in the world. And yet something feels like it's missing or that there's something else. And what I found at the 20-year mark of my career was that was me. I was thinking, this is great. I want to continue with this, but something's missing. And I don't know what else. I feel like I'm made for more than this. And I don't want this to be the only thing that I've done in my life. But then I kept digressing and going, but you should be just grateful. So just be grateful for what you have. And I had to go through this period where I said to myself, yes, I am grateful, but there is something more. And perhaps that inner knowing is that it's time to move on. And that's actually what the transition period that I went through, that I ended up making a decision to actually follow this and make this my full-time career and my focus.
Yeah. Was that a gradual transition when you said, all right, I'm starting Corliss Co? Or did you have an epiphany all of a sudden you're like, all right, tomorrow I'm doing it?
I didn't have an epiphany. I knew in my heart, but truthfully, what had me scared was, number one, could I do it? Number two, would anybody want to listen to me? Who am I? What do I think? What could they possibly learn from me? And the third thing is that I was scared to give up my security, because I had security in my career and I had worked all those years to build this business, and I had this successful business and this income coming in. And what was I going to do? Just walk away from that? So it was definitely a period of working through those things and how I worked through it. And I think this is important for the listeners, because sometimes we hear someone's story and we're like, oh yeah, that's me. I get that. That's how I feel. But then it's like, what do I do with that? How do I change it? How do I apply that to my life? Here's my suggestion. Those questions I ask myself, ask yourself those questions. Yeah. What is it? Why are you not doing it? Is this enough for you? Do you feel like there's something more? Why aren't you pursuing it? Get really honest with yourself. And when you do that, you'll find your answers.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thanks for being honest about starting your business, because I felt the same way. Who's going to listen to Greg Kehler, right? What do I have to offer? But I didn't have the luxury. I didn't have that thought of, should I walk away from this? Because I got a phone call one day from the place I was working, and the guy said, yeah, you're no longer, how do you say it? You're no longer needed. It was during COVID. And I had an argument. I said, well, I don't think you're needed, but he won. So I went from having a full-time job to waking up the next morning going, what am I going to do? But it's been great to look back over the last 24 years when I have believed in myself, when I've reached out to people like you and others and learned and studied and read books and everything. And it's great. And some days, I'll be honest with you, some days, like I said, they're not always work happy days. Do you ever have those days? And what do you do when you do have a day when you're like, crap?
Definitely. There is days like that. You mentioned that I'm doing Lead Conference, and that is a gigantic project. And because it's a gigantic project, I've been overextending myself. I found myself tired and exhausted. There are several things that I do when I'm in that place of today is not a work happy day. And it's not just lead. This has been as an entrepreneur for the last 30 years. So there's a couple things. First of all, I've recognized that it's okay to rest. It's okay to take a break, and things flow better. Like when you're in that happy state and when you're grounded and you're in the flow, things happen better anyway. So I've learned to just stop forcing it, walk away, give myself a breather, even if it's for a short amount of time, but until I feel grounded and centered again. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I very much always connect back to why. I am such a purpose-driven person. And every time that I lose motivation or I lose that energy and excitement about what I'm doing, I just have to stop and say to myself, okay, why are you doing this? Remember why this is important to you, why you wanted to accomplish this, who this is for, who it's going to impact, the difference it's going to make. And every time I do that, I get myself grounded and centered again to be able to move forward. So those are the two biggest things that I do. The third thing is that I remember the process of what I teach to people. Your thoughts create your results. So if you are not enjoying your life and your work and you're not doing well in this moment, trace it back to what it is that you're focused on and you're thinking. Because if you're thinking a thought, it creates how you feel creates how you act, and how you act and the things you do are going to create your results. So in that scenario, your thoughts are creating your results. So if you're like, ooh, I don't feel very inspired, I'm not really loving this right now, go back to the thoughts that you're thinking, because chances are you're probably saying, I don't like this, I wish I didn't have to do this, all those things, and trace it back, and you can make a switch in your thoughts. The last thing I want to say about this is that no one decides but you how happy you're going to be. It is up to you to make these decisions. And if you can understand that your thoughts have that much power, it will shift how you feel emotionally, which really is shifting your life and your level of happiness.
Yeah, no, exactly. I full on agree. People say this and this happened. It's a mindset. Like you said, right? Go back and think, why am I thinking this? But it's a mindset. Are other people going to determine my happiness, or am I? And true authentic happiness is when we're like, you know what? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm helping other people. And if something goes sideways in my life, I need to deal with that on the side. But I 100% agree with you. Quickly before we leave, can you share with us a little bit more about the LEAD conference, the people that are coming, how do people get a hold of you for tickets, those kinds of good things?
I would love to. Talking about LEAD conference, it's such a passion project for me, and it's such a purpose-driven thing that I could talk about it all day. But bottom line is that this is an opportunity for people to, oh no, there goes my dog. Oh, Greg.
You gonna go get him?
Oh no, sorry everybody. So LEAD conference is it. We have, first of all, the whole idea was that Canadians, and if I'm sure you have listeners that are Canadian.
Yep.
Yes. So Canadians typically, in order to experience a high caliber personal growth event, have to travel abroad. It just doesn't exist in Canada. And at one of the conferences that I attended in Minneapolis in 2019, at the beginning of the year, I was sitting there thinking, I wish this existed in Canada. And then I wrote in my journal, if it doesn't exist, I'm going to create it. And literally I came home and I searched everywhere. It literally does not exist here. So I wanted to make it affordable and accessible for people to experience that. So I decided that if I were to bring the high caliber world-class speakers to us, then more people would be able to do it. So that's exactly what we're doing. So we're launching LEAD Conference Canada in 2023. In the center of the country, so everybody can come from everywhere. We have made it so cost effective. We've got Arlene Dickinson, Kristina Kuzmic. Kristina Kuzmic was actually Oprah's next TV star. That's what she named her. She's got over 1 billion video views. She's so fun, so energetic. She's absolutely amazing. Jack Canfield, of course, my mentor and coach and who I'm trained through. We've got this beautiful lineup of speakers with Arlene Dickinson and Afia Boateng and Allan Kehler. There's 12 speakers, 2 days, high energy. And the other part of that is going to be exceptional is that we have inspirational speakers. So we have speakers who are like ordinary people like you and me, who have taken the teachings of the world-class speakers and applied it to their lives. And their inspiration is really going to hit your heart. So we've got it all here at LEAD Conference, and we really do hope that you come. You can go to my website. So it's corliss.ca and /LEAD 2023 to learn all about it and get your tickets.
Awesome. Yeah, that's coming up in November, right? I think the first weekend. Perfect. Awesome. Hey, I know you're busy and you got to run. One last thing that I ask all my guests, 3 quick questions, 1 word to 1 sentence. And I don't bring this up earlier because I want raw answers, like off the top of your head. So are you ready? 3 quick.
One word, 3 questions, 1 word?
1 word or 1 sentence.
Okay.
I just don't need a paragraph or a book or a chapter.
Sure. Sounds good.
Question number 1, what's your favorite ice cream?
Oh, black cherry.
Black cherry. Okay. I haven't tried that yet, but I might have to. Number 2, what is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Love yourself first.
Awesome. I love that. Right. And it's so true. It's so simple, but yet so profound. And number 3, what is one thing that you would like to leave with the listeners today?
Love yourself first.
Perfect. See, you already knew the answers. But thank you so much. We appreciate you having you on the show. I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. And thank you for all you do. Your energy, your love, your empathy, your kindness, everything exudes through everything you do. And I'm humbled and honored to have you on the show.
That's really nice of you to say. And likewise, thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Corliss. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening in. Again, we're here every week. Go out there, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, and please work happy. Have a good week. Cheers.